Hello everyone, TP Gaming here and welcome to my review of Goldeneye 007 for the Nintendo 64. I recently played through the game on the channel. I'll throw up a link on screen for you if you haven't seen it. The game recently celebrated its 25th anniversary, having been released on the 23rd of August 1997 in Japan, the 25th of August in North America, and the 7th of November here in the UK. The game will always hold a certain nostalgia level for me. I can still remember getting the game, seeing the carrier bag my dad was holding with the Nintendo 64 bundled with Goldeneye. And that night as going back home to try it out. He played it through first as I got used to playing it before I took over and never looked back. It wasn't my first foray into gaming, but my first into the console gaming, and it was mind-blowing. The game itself was developed by Rare and took 2.5 years to make, showing the dedication to the project. Remarkably, none of the team had any experience making video games. This was the first game for them all, except for a couple of them who were musicians and had done music for other games, and Martin Hollis, who led the team, who had worked on the coin-operated version of Killer Instinct. Hollis once said that he worked relentlessly on the game, averaging 80 hours a week over the 2.5-year period, and the rest of the team was similarly dedicated. Not all of their ideas made it into the final game. There were a few characters they wanted for the multiplayer, including Sean Connery, which they were unable to get the likeness for, and the ability to reload, taking out and reinserting the Rumble Pack, an idea eventually nixed by Nintendo. The game was released to critical and commercial success despite not being expected to do so by the media at the time. The game sold 2.1 million copies in the first year and had sold over 7 million by the end of 2001. Due to the success, the team were offered the sequel Tomorrow Never Dies, but turned it down immediately. A shame for fans like me, but totally understandable given the undertaking it had been to make Goldeneye, and they decided to make something different enough to keep their interest, despite their love of Bond. That game was Perfect Dark. The game itself features 18 levels across 4 difficulty settings: Agent, Secret Agent, 00 Agent, and finally 007. Each new difficulty adds new objectives and strengthens the enemy guards both in numbers, health, and ability. There are also 2 bonus levels unlocked by playing through the game on these difficulty levels: Aztec, which is based on 1979's Moonraker, and Egyptian, which takes parts from numerous Bond films from the 70s, the use of the Golden Gun and the enemy being Baron Samedi, to name a couple. The main game starts at the iconic dam, which sees you clear through a few guards and then take the bungee jump from the film, and from then on does a good job of telling the story with certain moments from the film reimagined into levels. Whether that be blowing up facility with 006, driving a tank through the streets, cutting a hole in the train floor to escape, or the final battle with 006 high up in the cradle. Aztec is probably the most difficult level in the game. The guards are more agile, have much heavier artillery right from the outset. Even making it through the first couple of rooms is a challenge. You do at least get the Moonraker laser, so ammo is not an issue, but fighting your way through the level to then have a fight with Jaws and then complete the mission objectives is no easy feat. The gameplay for a game 25 years old still holds up really well, and with the graphical and frame rate update promised with the upcoming re-release on Xbox, it should be strong enough not just to get old players back, but also introduce new ones to the series without it feeling like an old game. I really hope they try and keep it faithful to the original there. There are a range of weapons in the game. Some feature only on certain levels, while others can be found across multiple ones. With the use of cheats, they can be used at any time, however, so if you fancy rampaging your way through the archives with a rocket launcher, or going ultra stealth only using throwing knives, you can do just that. There is even a taser and a golden PP7 should you desire. If anything, the cheats enhance the gameplay for a few more hours. The soundtrack is also fantastic. Each level is really tied together nicely by the music, and I actually think the action wouldn't have felt so good without it. The music often intensifies when you get to a key point, and who can forget the iconic pause menu music? And of course, the 2 different sets of lift music. There are some annoying moments usually found on the harder difficulties where you can face such a barrage from the enemies it's almost impossible, and the missions where you have to keep Natalia alive, where often she just dawdles along despite bullets flying everywhere, can be quite frustrating. The game is still really fun even after hundreds and probably thousands of times that I have played it through. There aren't many games that you can boot up in seconds, complete a couple of levels, and satisfy you in the way this does. My final thoughts on the game are that I think this will always be in my top 5 games ever. It revolutionised FPS games, it's still fun to play after all this time, and I'd recommend it to anyone. If you have never played the game before, try and get hold of a Nintendo 64 and make sure you give it a play. Or try the Project 64 emulator, you will not be disappointed. I hear it may be added online for the Switch sometime soon, and of course remastered for Xbox, again coming soon. This has been my review of Goldeneye. Thanks for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you very soon.